Oh, now it's official. Okay. All right, so I'm Alex, and
I'm Kathy Nicholson. I'm the Technology Integration Specialist Coach at the high school in Cuyahoga Falls.
I do the two middle schools at Willick and Roberts and Cuyahoga Falls. And so we're doing life after Google Expeditions. Like hopefully many people fell in love with Expeditions for all of its resources, and then Google retired it. And so like some other people, we had some GIR grants and some other local grants that we had all the equipment for and we're doing really well with Google Expeditions, and then we lost those resources. So we scrambled and the pandemic hit. So our presentation, we hope to just kind of like tell you guys what's out there, what we went through, what we're currently doing, and actually we hope to learn a lot from you guys too. So we would just wanted to review, if you didn't know about Expeditions, kind of our story, and then some replacements, and then time to play if you'd like to check out what we brought. Okay.
So in terms of the timeline on this, it was really Google Expeditions was released in September of 2015. But in 2018, in March, is when it was brought into Cuyahoga Falls. Alex through the middle school. That's where it was really introduced first. And we got, Alex got some grants, the first grant in 2019, and then when I joined the team in 2020, we got a grant for the high school. We had been using the middle school devices and literally bringing them from building to building, which is very awkward. And if anybody knows our school, it's multi-floor all over. It was crazy in the district. In 2021, June 30th, that was kind of the death day. That's when Google retired Google Expeditions. And at that time, we were told it was all merging into Google Arts and Culture. So we'll touch on that a little more.
Sort of, right?
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
I know initially when they merged, it was very difficult to access Google Expedition. It was like 10 clicks or something. Is it still like that?
Well, so Google Expeditions, you can't do anything on anymore.
Well, they did something where they
So that's kind of our next thing, right?
Yeah.
So we were all, okay, Google Expeditions is going away. Maybe they're just literally merging it into a different product. And we found it's not really the case at all. We felt like we were out in front of it. We felt really good about what we had. And it seems like, if you ask me, I think they tried to make some of the content more accessible to all devices. Like Bobby was talking about bringing, it to web-based. So like Expeditions was an app. It wasn't web-based. You couldn't use it on your Chromebook. You can do everything in Google Arts and Culture on Chromebook, but it doesn't give you that immersive experience. And we really love the fact that teachers could take students on that tour, like one scene at a time. They have a little script. They can point things out in Expeditions. So some of the stuff we found does somewhat mirror that. So we've been doing it off and on over the past 4 years. We got a lot more equipment right as the pandemic hit, and it was kind of like, all right, we're not sharing devices. Let's put everything away. We lost a lot of traction with integration because teachers were using it all the time. And then when we got back to almost, okay, we can, wipe headsets and feel a little bit comfortable with what we have, that's when Google Expeditions ended. We did want to mention, though, like I said, we volunteered to present because we had some things to share, but we definitely have a lot to learn. So we're just as excited for after our conference or our presentation to learn. So if you have anything that you are either using right now, this Padlet's open, like you just click on it, you can add tools you have heard of but haven't tried. That might help us all explore what else is out there. And then if you have any resources or links, you're welcome to share there. We'd love to learn from you guys too. All right. So if you don't know about Google Arts and Culture, it's web-based. It's very robust for images and search. You could really do a lot of things that is art-related, like tours. They do have a few options for virtual reality tours that is mobile. So we tried to search on the computer, search on the Chromebook for the VR stuff. We were saying, all right, if Expeditions is moving to Arts and Culture, then surely we'll find our favorite tours from Expeditions there. And we didn't really find much. Even their website, I think this is still true, right? So this is the web portion of their virtual reality tours, and there's nothing to do on it. You can't scroll down, there's no search. But if you did the same search on your phone with the Google Arts and Culture app, you'll find, 208?
Yeah. There's over 200 tours that you could access at that point. And that our 360, that the students can go in, and there are more scenes they can go in and they can sort of explore through it and look through different things. So there are things there, but there's nothing in terms of like the expeditions tour, which gave the content or the explanations as they're going through. And that was where we were disappointed by that.
Forgive me.
Yeah.
Is 360 different from the virtual reality tours that you're talking there?
Yeah, so when we
Okay.
actually when we talk virtual reality, like at least our understanding is that's like kind of putting on the headset and feeling like you're there. So you could do that with some 360 by using a device, but 360 video, we're going to talk about how we have some students create, but it's basically like that, just one stationary spot, kind of just have that look around. And some 360 videos actually like they play like a YouTube content, and where you can look. So the other thing, I was trying to think if this is, so the other page of Google Arts and Culture that kind of adopted some of that, and this is a decent example. They've got a lot of 360-degree videos, so you can click on and look in a room. It's not that really immersive. If you're on your mobile device, you'll see a little headset icon that'll allow you to like play it, put those on, and you do feel like you're there. We're still not finding the
behind the curator.
mute or pause.
Pardon?
I was gonna say just a quick watch it. But then with these 360-degree videos, and we'll look at this with YouTube, these are like you can click and drag around. But we're not finding the like tour guided part of expeditions that we loved. And we'll get to AR later, but we really that was I love these 4 QR codes you can hold your phone over and bring those dinosaurs, as he said, right into the table on your classroom.
And I was using that in like astronomy classes at the high school, and they loved it because they could actually get in and they could move back and forth amongst the things and around them. And they really enjoyed using those things as part of it. So we've had to try and find some replacements on that side.
And the last thing we found, if you search in Google Arts and Culture, is the Museum Explorer. I don't know why. Oh, you know what? We couldn't like link it. That's on the homepage. So if you went to the homepage of Arts and Culture, they have scrolling down. I didn't find like a direct link to it. Somewhere in here, right? Is the Museum Explorer. There we go. And so these are like, kind of like the Google Street View, where you can drop that little guy. These are 360-degree tours of museums. You can click through hallways. You can look around. And so they do have, some immersive stuff on there in the Google Arts and Culture. Just wasn't exactly what we were believing when they said Expeditions is going away, but content's going to be moved over. And we hope maybe they're still
Working on it.
Yeah, stored somewhere working on it. But Google goes at their own pace. So anybody have anything to share with Google Arts and Culture and their experience? Not as impressed as we are.
Oh, so with the Oculus Quest, then this would be an app with the kids that they are navigating. Like they have to take themselves where they need to be. Like, am I able to then like save it on the Quest, where they just go and click?
So for the Quest, I believe you'd use like the browser that's built in the Quest, and you could do like web or you type expedition.
So the kids are gonna have to do that every time.
Yeah. So we're not quite.
It's not smooth.
No. We do have some smooth alternatives though.
Okay.
That's where we're going next.
Yeah.
So far we're not huge fans of our Google Arts and Culture with what they provided and what they said they're going to take that expeditions into. But that was our first thing because we wanted to show you where they said they were going and then what we found on top of it.
Can you link these experiences through a QR code though? Or
Sure.
just easily
Yeah.
scan it?
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
it's linked in?
Yeah, so even if we, I still want those up. All right, so this Baltimore Museum of Art does have its own link, and so even with just using the built-in share, there's your QR code. You can get that direct. So so if you have devices, which through different grants, or through your school funding for VR, those would be easily scanned and then they could pull right up.
But that QR code does not work with a Quest.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
asking.
No.
Okay, right, so
I
that's
have no
another.
idea.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was
Quest.
wondering if that would take out less steps and maybe you could easily
Yeah.
Yeah.
link it, but.
So the only way I've used Quest for a VR tour that is not built in as an app, like through a web
Yes.
browser, is by going to the
They are
browser
fine.
and typing it in. Now, like we use the Bitly link,
Yes.
you might be able to do something like that, where if you find that tour, you can create your own free Bitly link. At least that's
Sure,
a few
that's
less characters for your students to type in. Okay, so we all kind of agree Google Arts and Culture isn't Google Expeditions like we hoped it would be. So we found two pretty good alternatives. Kathy is our Expeditions Pro for Expeditions Pro.
Expeditions Pro was the first one that we looked at, and one of the reasons that I liked this one is that it was free. The other alternative we found did have a licensing with it. This at least solved the tour side of things. Because what this does is it allows you to download tours onto your tablet and lead the tour with your class. Kids don't need to log into the actual app. They just open up the app and they just follow you and join you just the same way they did with Google Expeditions.
They're opening up the app
They opened it up on our mobile device.
on mobile devices.
It's on a mobile device is what you're working with. So you're working with an app. Right now it only works on an Android device. They supposedly are working on opening it up to Apple devices as well. I've had students use it in class when we've done it now. Some can use their own. I just find for us, we've got them through the grant. It's much easier if they're all on the same device. You have a lot fewer problems. We also found that now we can do things, our tech's actually been able to change it so we don't even have to have a separate router to run it. They can just be connected to the same Wi-Fi. So it works really nicely that way. One of the things I found I didn't like about Expeditions Pro, there was no list of the expeditions. You have to go through and scroll through 10 at a time to see what expeditions, or you could go in and search, but they don't have a nice, easy master list. So on this link, I went through and I spent some time and I keep updating this. So I actually have, you can see, and the date over here is the date that I added it on. They're still adding tours. Some of these tours are ones just people have uploaded and aren't really going to be of interest, but there was a lot on here and they've been adding more of all kinds of different things. There's earthquakes. I've done a space one I found, so I was able to give our astronomy classes one they could use. I just did a tour of Paris with my French classes. And we went in, and that was great because we did it with all of those, and the teacher was able to, do all of the points of interest and lead them and show them exactly what they were doing. It operates in the same basic way where you go in, you lead the tour. It will show arrows. It's not quite as good as Expeditions was, but it still gives the same basic idea. There is a very rudimentary where you can draw on it, circle something of interest, but it's not the same as Expeditions, but it's free. And it was a good alternative that we found. Going through that, it was very easy to use, very intuitive. Like I say, the teachers have really liked this, and there was a wide range. It is missing some things, but like I say, they have been adding them as they go along.
So we think there was an opportunity for Google Expeditions, you could take out, I think they called it. You could actually download the tour. And I think what Expeditions Pro did is they were able to download some of the Expeditions tours that used to be on Google Expeditions, and they're hosting them. Now, we know they're not all there. We think some of them are there. I find it interesting that a lot of those, I saw high school,
Yeah.
You're able to, if you create one, upload it to this website, they'll host it for you, and then you could, do it for building tours or anything else. So, as she said, the interface looks very similar. You could actually,
We've got some set up here on the devices so you can take a look at it afterwards and see how it looks.
Yeah, but their webpage obviously has kind of all that. We used to have a teacher guide, student guide, and troubleshooting guide for Google Expeditions, so we tried to modify that for Expeditions Pro. What we found, biggest thing, just making sure all the phones are to the same update and that the app is to the same update. That was my first run-in with, how are we going to navigate this mini lesson and get it back on course? So that's a really, really good alternative that we found. It's the closest thing to Expeditions. It does let you point.
Yeah, you can point to things, and it is the same way where it has a script on each of the tours, and it has the points highlighted. So if you click on the point, it will actually give arrows for the students. And when they move and get to the right spot, the arrows disappear, so they know they're at the right spot. You can see on the tablet, the little faces that they're actually there, so you can monitor that way. But it's nice because, again, you can control what scene they're on. You just push it out to them. They don't have to log in. When they come to Expeditions Pro, they can just sign in as guest if they're just following. If they want to download something and look around, then they have to sign in. But they don't to do the basic just following you.
Yeah, so our student guide is pretty simple. With the app on their phone, they just open it and use as guest. They choose class in the lower right, and they choose follow, and they'll see like a 4-digit leader if there happens to be multiple leaders. But they just click on that lead, and then they can put it in their goggles and follow their teacher. The second one that's very similar to Google Expeditions that we've been kind of playing with is called RoboLab VR. They call it Expeditions 2.0. Unlike Expeditions Pro, if you want to look at all those tours, you get on the app and you just kind of scroll through or search. Expeditions Lab, we don't have a license for yet. It's a one-time license. I think a teacher license and 30 devices was about, I'm going to say, $1,500 to $2,000.
Yeah.
So seems kind of expensive, especially if you're trying to get a school-wide. But
it's a one-time license.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and they continually add to, so it'd be great for a GAR grant, I think. We also, because we kind of have a trial, so we brought different devices, or it's the same devices, but we have a few of them hooked up for if you wanted to try that. They do have all of their expeditions, though, on their website. If this link doesn't work, because I'm signed in, that code, there you go, there's the password. So if you enter this passcode that they sent us, copy and paste, so I'll have to do it a little different. I do want to show it real quick, though. Let me grab that code. Take it over to the lab. Password. So they will give you a free trial to play with. They gave us like 21 days, and then we said we're presenting. Can we have a few more? And they said, yeah, they extended our trial so that we can kind of show if you want to see it in person.
And they'll give you, usually it's like 2 student licenses and a teacher license is what they'll share with you in their trial.
So even though we were like disappointed that it's paid, it's actually really, really good. Like this website has, not only the description, they have all the scenes listed. Every lesson has a PDF teacher aid, so they could actually print it and go through it, which is, Expeditions was you want to prepare for the lesson, you just put on or get the tour and the teacher can prepare the script that way. This one has a lesson with each and every one of them. So even though it is paid, I think there's a pretty good reason why they're asking for a paid product. And I can't remember numbers-wise. Is it 800 that they had and they say they continually add to? It's quite a few.
It's quite a few. This one is kind of what I think we're going to start turning to. Expeditions Pro has been great because it's free. And I think we're working towards trying to get some, now that we've found this one, we're looking to try and get it into a budget that we can get some and get it paid for.
And so you could do Control F and search any term, like Rome. We would, Expeditions, we used Rome all the time. We went to the Colosseum. So this has that now. So I think the other resource we have up there on for the Expeditions 2.0 we have a Google Drive folder. So as they kind of shared their license and the trial, they were sending like PDFs, not only to get us to explore, but their list in PDF form. We put our quote on there.
Yep.
I don't think there's any identifiable information. So we had first asked for a quote for, I think, 2 teacher licenses.
Yeah.
And 60 devices, so that was about 6,000. We figured, though, we cut out and shared. We really very rarely do a lesson simultaneously, one at the high school, one at the middle school. So if we went down to 1 license, at least to start and to try it out, like a proof of concept, collect some data, take it back to our district and say.
And if we find we need it, then we can look at getting additional. But I think 30, like I say, we can coordinate well enough that to move something a day wouldn't hurt.
So the one license for 30 devices.
What you need for the first, you need each student license for each device. So you'd need times the number of devices. So it's $69 each device. So we're looking to now get, say, 30, and then you have to have a teacher license to be able to lead it.
How much is a teacher?
Teacher is $884.
Yeah, 84. So really cut that number in half. I can't remember if we asked for a 30 quote, if it changed the
I don't think it
pricing.
changed the pricing. I think the pricing was still the same when we priced that.
So we loved Google Expeditions. It was free. It did all of that. This is a very good product that we've seen in the trial, but that does have a significant cost associated with it, or not significant depending on what the budget is.
Yeah.
So anybody else? How many people have heard of this RoboLab 2.0? Anybody? Right, Kathy, we did it.
Yes, we found something
We
new.
brought something new. All right, good. All right.
You search long enough, you'll find something.
And so we want to leave some time for the playground at the end. I think we're till 11, so we're doing pretty good on time. But there are plenty of other alternatives that can still use a VR headset, can still use your Quests. YouTube, there's an app on the Quest. There's also YouTube 360. So a few ways. If you actually just went to YouTube and search for your topic, there's a filter option, and you can filter videos that are 360 degree or what they call VR 180. And so it kind of looks like this. It lets you see this icon in the upper left of any video. It will let you drag around. There's more to explore.
And a lot of them, when you're on the actual mobile device, it actually has that you can put it for the goggles and the cardboard, and you can view it in that as well. So you can get more of that immersive feel. Again, if you're on the Quest, you can go right into it.
And so just a few highlights. They have a whole page, YouTube 360. So this is already filtered for you. You don't have to change any filter search, but it has, collections. They're popular ones, things that are added. So you can search through this page if there's a tour that you're looking for or just a spot you want to go to. Found one on so a couple examples. The teacher wanted to take them to Williamsburg, Virginia, the first settlement. We were unable to find a Google Expeditions-like tour, like through the Expeditions Pro or the 2.0. So we found a 360-degree video that kind of was a tour guide. They watched it a little bit, just to look around, and then later on when we talked about Google Maps and that street view, either the car or somebody with a phone went through all of Williamsburg, the historical town, so the kids could just click on the map and look around and see all the statues and see some of the artifacts, actually go in the museum that was there. So this is a good supplement. And then National Geographic has a pretty, especially for science and nature, they have a playlist that are all 360-degree videos. So if you want, I think there's 53. It's not a ton, but they're all really good videos.
And you could always create a playlist of the different ones you want. Would be to kind of
Get
make
the
it a
crowd
little
moving
easier.
during Live Sound Month at Sweetwater.
Sorry. Great. So same thing. These are that 360-degree.
And you can see, you can go in and look at it.
If you were on a mobile device, you could hit that little.
My name is Jim Abernathy. I'm a Shark Tank.
You could hit that little icon. We'll show it, but the icon on the headset actually just looks like a VR goggles, and that will let you put it in the goggles and look around real time. I don't make sure, can you hit the back button? I want to make sure I didn't double click. I think this is next, but I didn't see anything. That's not working. Just the back arrow. If this is right. Oh, I thought. Good.
Yeah, I thought we had one more in there.
So the other thing that died with Google Expeditions was Google Tour Creator. And so Tour Creator let students, and this is what we loved, we got into VR with the consumerism part of it, being able to take students on tours, but we wanted to step up to the next level, which was have students create their own tours. And Tour Creator, which also retired, lets students do that. So we found a few things that will let students create. ThingLink is a pretty inexpensive license, and ThingLink you probably saw years ago because any picture you could just put little hotspots on it. So that picture back there, students can click on it and it could open up text or a video. Well, we have, actually we show it because I'm very proud of it. We had a student that in their love project, they're like 20% time of a class, they took our 360-degree camera and they went to each spot in the building to kind of give a building tour. And then these are each pictures, they're just 360-degree pictures, but with ThingLink, it hosted the 360-degree picture, but then also with those little hotspots, and they just put little tags to each location. So
and what's nice about ThingLink is you can also add audio and record the audio right in there. So they could actually narrate the tour as they're going through and have it on there with the sound and everything.
So he did a building tour. You can click on each of the arrows, take you to different parts of the building. I think this has been done a lot of great ways. Tour Creator would do this. We found ThingLink can do the same. Eventually, he put some tags in here. I think like everything doesn't have to be a hyperlink. If we really wanted, when we get to our makerspace, we could have put a kind of like an intro video or a link to YouTube where it just like pops up and plays right within the tour.
I used a Rico Theta camera a few years back.
Yep.
I felt like initially it was difficult.
Also, so a few things I've learned. Number one, the front of the camera. I originally thought this would be the front of the camera because this is where all the lights were. I had to put a Sharpie on this side because this is the front of the camera. It is hard to control here, especially if you want to get out of the way. So with the Rico app, you can bring up the app. You can stand around the corner. You can kind of preview even the picture, but then if you want to go to video, you just hit the button and it records. So it's got the app will let you do remote control. And then the other thing that's nice about it is then you can sign in with your Google account to the Rico Theta app and link YouTube. So we did a kindergarten building tour. So especially during the pandemic, before they'd come in on like an orientation night, see the building, see the classrooms. So we've been just using a selfie stick and kind of holding this 360-degree camera, walking the hall with the principal, and they gave the tour with the narration, and we just sent it to YouTube to host.
And what do you do? What do you do to transfer the pictures? Like for a kid to transfer the pictures, is there USB?
Well, yeah, you can do it through the USB. They can also just put it on the Google Drive. That's what we've done too.
Yeah, and if you have the phone with the app, you can download it to the phone and upload it that way. Or you can plug in the camera directly to
the computer and go that way as well.
Okay.
A lot of times we've just done the direct connect because it's faster, but you can do the other. It works just really well. The other one that we found was we went to, because ThingLink is great if you're taking your own pictures. It's very hard to find 360 images if you're wanting students. For instance, I have a Spanish class right now doing a project on Argentina. And they wanted to create 360 tours. Well, the problem was they can't find the 360 images. Well, 360 Schools actually has pictures from all over the world. They're all set up on a map. They're all searchable. And it has all kinds of ones that you can go in there. It's a free, you can sign up with Google, you can go through it to the education side. And it really works well for a basic tour. The downside I found in the headsets as we were just experimenting with it is the navigation from, right now, the navigation that goes from scene to scene. They have to open the device up and go to the next scene. It's not working properly. It does have on there, if they were just viewing it on a Chromebook, then they could actually just hit the button and it would go on. But for whatever reason with the headset, it's not working right. I have a class of Spanish students, Spanish 3 students who are doing this right now. And what's nice is, again, they can go in and they can add tags. So what they're doing is they're tagging a sentence or two of their dialogue about all the different places in Spanish. And then they are presenting them to the class and basically going to lead the students through where they're speaking in Spanish. So they're using it that way.
The tours are posted on the site too?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It's all hosted on the site.
The key thing to remember here is you can create for free, but you just have to use their library of pictures.
Yeah. You
And
can't
so
upload your own.
And so for a Spanish student that wants to, give a tour of somewhere in Spain and then, narrate it, they can use this site.
Yeah. And there was lots of images, like it was from all over the world. And they could find, there were very specific places the teacher wanted them to talk about historic things and different things. And there was a lot of images from all of those places. So it was kind of nice that they were able to get to that. So this has kind of been is a very simple, the teaching on this there's almost nothing to do in terms of the teaching. It's very easy. They just add a tag. When they get in, add a panoramic. It's very much like using slides. They add a slide. You can see on the map, these are all places they have 360 images of, and when you click on them, a lot of them have multiple. And it's, like I say, and you can do a search for something, like search for Sydney Bridge, and you can search for Colosseum, Rome. So you can search, and you can see they've got those images. Again, you can click the headset button, and they can actually then see it immersed. The only downside on a tour, like here, that you can just bring individual pictures up. If you create it as a tour, you just have to click to get to the next slide.
Do you need a 360 camera to create tours, or is there?
No, with this you don't. This is all done like they're doing it on their Chromebooks.
Yeah, if you wanted to create your own, like of our school or something.
So you don't have to have a 360 camera. You can use Google Cardboard app, and that will allow you. It's like taking a panoramic, but you can go all the way around 360. So you can use a phone. You wouldn't be able to do a video very well that way, but you could definitely do a picture.
Google Cardboard?
I think it's called Google Cardboard. I might have to check if anybody.
Yes, please. No, I was going to ask, can you download their pictures?
No, they do not allow them because that was
somewhere else.
what I had hoped to be able is if we could have been able to download them, we could have put them in ThingLink and created and added the audio of the students speaking the sentence in Spanish. The problem we had is when the students are searching for 360 images to be able to put into ThingLink, most of the images they would find were not actual true 360 images.
You're right.
And that was where we Yeah, so we had a hard time finding, and especially of the specific places they wanted. So this was kind of a...
There's some out there, but you have to pay for it.
Right.
Have watermarks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of pricey.
Yeah, and for this type of project, that wasn't what...
I can see kids using their pictures, but screencasting. Like, using their pictures, doing research, and then screencasting.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah. That'd be a good idea.
So can you put in a 360 schools, can you put two different images and merge into and create a tool with two different 360 images?
So
it's one after each other. What'll happen, very much like Google Expeditions did, what'll happen here is it's like a slideshow almost. You go along, you have your intro one, you get into the next scene, and then there'll be a little arrow. You can go forward or back. So you can go on to the next scene, and you can do that. And so you can create multiple scenes as you go through. So
I created a tour, just found a picture that was theirs, right? And then I was able to create my own with a link to share.
And you can see that left and right arrow at the bottom. That's how you get to the next scene.
So I have two scenes on this one. This is test, so put not much work into it, but then you can add your own text, I believe, right? So
you can add your own text, and you title your slide what you want, and you can add tags on it. So that if there's things you want, like there's one you can have, so you click on it, and depending what you've added, if you've added anything, it would pop up with the text that you had on there. It could be an image you could put. So you can do some very rudimentary. You can add a video, but it's got to be a YouTube video. So there's only certain things you can add. And that was, as you went through. But it's, like I say, it's been a good temp sort of solution, mid-range, quick and easy now, because literally it's like using Google Slides. When you go on, you create a new panoramic slide, you say that. You can also put questions in here, which is nice too. So you could have a little question in there. You could choose quiz, and a quiz slide will go in and will then give you, you can put in a title, the questions, answers on that as well. And you can add those quizzes on top of the thing. Yep. So you can actually create that as well with little things. So it's actually got some nice features in it. As I say, there are limitations, but again, this is free for education. Again, it's the schools.360cities, not just 360 cities. 360 cities also is a paid type thing that has a lot more things with it.
So to kind of recap those two, if you want to take your own pictures and make your own tour, we think ThingLink would be the way to go. We got 60 licenses for $17.50 for the year. So, I mean, I would have paid for that out of my own pocket if we wouldn't have had some GAR money to spend on it. 360 degrees, you can create free, but just with their stock photos or the images that have been uploaded there.
And again, the closest to Tour Creator is actually the Expeditions 2.0, the VR Expeditions 2.0 from the Robolat. It actually comes with a creator as well. So it does have the creator side.
Out of all of these apps, is this your favorite one, Robot Lab?
I can't say because we haven't paid for it to use it with a class yet.
Yeah.
It has the most potential though. The enticing part is, and it's always their claim, they're going to continue adding for free once you have the one-time license. So I do like that. In Expeditions Pro, they've got it free, but you can't create. This one, if we would love to be able to have our students use it to create. And you can use that. We have about 10 minutes left. We definitely want to give you guys time. I skipped again. Can you go back one? The back arrow. We'll go quick now because these aren't as exciting. There's one with the camera. Must have been one before. There we go.
There we go.
So we have 2 Rico Thetas, one for each grant. We found these camera stands. Actually, Kent State, when we came to tour them, that's what they used. Instead of using an expensive camera stand, it's actually like a light stand, like for displaying lights. They were like $40 a piece. So students can easily share and record through the Rico Theta and upload directly to YouTube. This is the tour we did for the elementaries. This is our most recent one. Editing, after 5 minutes, you have to start a new video. So we just use playlists. And
just have them continue.
This video that you're viewing is 360.
So they'll share this on the kindergarten registration website. So they get to meet the principal, they get to see the building.
And then our third kindergarten classroom.
And we actually have one for each of our buildings from the pandemic when we were doing orientation, we did a video for each. So, Kathy, can you exit? Escape?
Where are we? There we are.
So there's some resources if you're interested in those. We did that one. That seemed like it was out of order.
AR was much harder to find things. So if you do a search on it, you can find things. We did have some success, though, finding some apps when we actually just used our actual devices. And like one of the apps that we found on here is we've got an app called Mission to Mars. I just used with our Astronomy 2 students, and it actually had them driving a Mars rover. They had to go through, they had to place the image so it was in the room, and it's worked really well. There was no easy like AR experiences like you could find quickly and easily in Expeditions.
Yeah, so Google Expeditions had fantastic augmented reality to bring devices or to bring objects in the classroom. We're supplementing that with using our devices to find apps. We did these ones with our classes and liked them. If you do a Google search on a mobile device, if you scroll like way down, you might find that there is a view in 3D option. And so it's exactly like Google Expeditions was. It'll set that object on the table. There's not one for everything, but if you search,
Tiger.
Yeah, tiger's the big one, right?
Yeah.
The Google search for that's all the images. And so most devices at this point are AR Core supported. There's some information there, and then I forget what we did here. Oh, this is just their fact page and information on finding and using those 3D. Oh, this is why we put it there. If you don't know what's available and you don't want to search everything, they've got a list. So you're looking for land animals. They've got, tiger, goat, cheetah, pony, underwater. So they do have, while it's not a robust list, there are some objects that they list here.
And what's nice is, like the keynote was saying, these are quick and easy things that you can just bring in and supplement a lesson with. It doesn't have to be the whole lesson. It can just be something fairly quick that you're bringing in to show them and to go over what you're doing. So it's kind of that other tool you can bring in and use for part of it, just a quick, easy way. And you don't need the headsets for that. You're just using the mobile devices. So if students can look it on their own, or you can just bring your devices in, and it's quick and easy.
So those were the apps that we've used, and then some other ideas just to tie in, augmented and virtual reality. So we have a few quests that we're now up and running with again. Tinkercad, I've had students use for not only 3D designing to print, but it's a design software. You could download that object and you could view it with your merge cube, or you could insert it into a some sort of virtual reality space. The Google Maps Streets view, that's that one you just, any Google Maps, you see that little orange guy in the lower right, you can click on him and drag him over and it'll find any blue spot. You can drop that pin or drop that person and then you're there, like looking at your house. And Arizona State website has a ton of virtual field trips available. These are, I'm not sure how we work with them with our devices other than sending the link, plugging them in. But these are really nice because they're multi-step or like slides, so they can go from one scene to the next. Each scene has information listed with it. It might take a moment to load. So you've got some text that they added. They don't have everything, but on that home page they have information about what's available.
There's a lot out there. You just have to really search for it and just trial and error. And that's really been it. And even within our classes, it's been trial and error, getting in there, trying to work through it. And that's where we're creating those guides and sharing them with anyone, as we found things that work, things that don't work as well.
So if you want to see any of the equipment or try out the expeditions, we wanted to leave some time. We don't have a ton, but I know we'll be here all day. We could share anybody anytime, or you can contact us if you want us to provide the resource directly or help you out in any way.
Thank you for offering this. I know it's hard to gather resources and teach at the same time, so thanks for giving this all out for free to us.
Pleasure.
These were just this is a Nokia. We got it through a kit, so it doesn't have the cell phones. It doesn't have the SIM card, so it just has the
Given text or original pictures or
I basically buying
and they
mobile
would
phones with clips in them.
But you
It
said
came in a kit that we got with the headsets.
request.
Like we ordered it through, so that we got the headsets.
So it will work with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this one literally came in